Hi, my name is Daryl Phillips, and this is a Bipolar Perspective presented to you by Noir Apologia Gaming. Please like, subscribe, and follow and share. Especially share this stuff. It's very important. There are lots of people out there that are suffering and with psychological disorders and also just people that the world has kind of given up on, and that's kind of the point of these things, and that's the point of the steps, and that's the point of carrying your ingredients with you. Um, it's the holidays. Hope everybody had a good Christmas, um, and hope everybody had a good year. I know I did. I know I did. But I know everybody has not had a good year, and that's the point, especially about this subject. And today's subject is how to deal with a bad environment. Okay, now I bet a lot of you, had just come off your Christmas dinners and you're about to go to New Year's, and you don't necessarily want to hear this, but you know how it is at Christmas sometimes. You got some relatives that make your Christmas bad. But think about that in the aspect of a bigger thing. Think about that in your life, okay? There are some people out there, being homeless, for example, in my experience, being homeless was a bad environment. My original situation before I was adopted was a bad environment, being abused and so forth and so on. And the deal is, you try to get out of the bad environment for one thing, but if you cannot, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? How do you go through it every day? I talked about earlier in a few videos ago, a few weeks ago, about living in the moment. Sometimes for those people that are in that situation, just a simple hi, not high, not that high, a simple hello, okay, can actually brighten their day. And it sounds stupid, right? Because especially this time of the year, I mean, they're not getting gifts. They don't have relatives, a lot of them. You know that I spent Christmas in detox in 2005. Yeah, I and that was the year my sister died, and that was the year I lost my son, and that December was terrible. It was terrible. I created a bad environment, and I was in a bad environment. And a bad environment doesn't have to be that serious. Here's another example of a bad environment. You know how they ask you at work, which they try to ask you, what's that question that they always ask the people who try to judge, especially the more organized companies. They'll sit there and talk about how's the weather, how's the atmosphere, excuse me, the atmosphere, my bad, not the weather. There's no tornadoes. Oh, some people at work are kind of like tornadoes, but no, how's the atmosphere? How's the environment? And if you have a bad environment at work, you can't work correctly. Your company's gonna fail. Um, right now it's just me, and that's the one thing I'm making sure I'm planning out. When I am able to hire people, there's not going to be any bad environment here. I promise you that. Um, I was in one, uh, also in 2005. Um, in 2004 and 2005, I worked at a job. I actually liked the job, but my boss was terrible. Was a dictator, and I mean the worst kind of boss. That's a bad environment. What if you're at home and you're still living with your parents, and they're whatever they are? That's a bad environment. What if your wife or your husband's a bad person and treating you badly? That's a bad environment. So it doesn't have to be as harsh as homelessness or something. I'm just giving you examples of things. But but the question is how are you dealing with it? Are you getting drunk every day? Getting high every day? That's how you're dealing with it? Self medication is the first thing that I talked about on the 29th of October. It's the first thing I talked about in those Friday videos. That self-medication is not the answer. It will never be the answer. I know, because that's what I did. I self-medicated. That's how I dealt with it. That's how I got through my situation at the end there. But even before that, I was just, like I said, I would find moments in the day that I would have peace, just a moment of peace. You know how that is? Just a moment of peace. It's terrible, and you have to be a very strong person to get out of that situation. I wasn't a strong person, and I didn't get out of that situation. I was saved. There's a difference. Just so you know, my friend, my coworker, my boss, or my not my boss, but my co-owner, my brother, Dwan, he got out by himself. He'll tell you that. Now he's not a braggart. He's not gonna brag on himself, but I'm gonna brag on him because he deserves it. He did that by himself. You know, I did not. I would have died like I did, and my significant other saved me. I was helped like a puppy, and then I rose out of that. That I rose out of, but the original situation I did not. I failed. I would have died like that. So that's deal with that. And Dewan Jackson, he actually got out, and there are people who have gotten out. There are famous people who have gotten out of the situation: singers, rappers, baseball players. Des Bryant, Kirby Puckett. That's right, Kirby Puckett. And for you Minnesotans, we love him, don't we? That's right. I'm still a Twins fan. I ain't all, man, like all Texas teams. Can't stand the Texas Rangers. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I don't mean to make this morose, especially on New Year's week and after Christmas, but you know, dealing with the bad environment people are right now. People are right now, and we can't be selfish. Let's not be selfish. Let's think of others. Isn't that the kind of point of the holidays? You're thinking of others, not just of your family, right? Think about all the pain and suffering people are going through right now, and while you're, sorry to say this, but while you're eating Christmas dinner, there's some people that are starving to death. Some people that are starving to death. And before you say, well, the government helps them, I want you to think about that really. That just leaves you with the excuse not to help them. That's an excuse. That's an excuse, and that's all it is. So, this wasn't going to be a really long video because I didn't want this to be depressing for this week. I want you to realize that these are some of the things that need to be discussed, and it'll be discussed again and again and again till you understand that there are people in bad environments, and how you deal with it is through these steps. I'm telling you right now, you have to use these steps to deal with that. I promise you. Think about it really logically. Think about this logically, okay? Real quick before I let you go. I want you to think about the steps. I want you to think about how to deal with a bad environment. Think about this. First you have to have the want to. Do you want to get out of the bad environment? Or do you want to deal with the bad environment? Do you want to be strong in it? Okay? Obviously you do, right? Okay. So that's check one. Do you have a person or persons that you can vent to? They don't need to say nothing back, remember? Remember what I said? They don't need to say nothing back. Do you have someone to yell at? If you don't, go get a counselor, really. And that's where you can go get government stuff and counseling and stuff. Nothing wrong with getting government to get help, but then to stay on it is to help yourself, right? And then your advisor might be the same person, might be a counselor. Maybe you don't have anybody if you're on the streets. So maybe you do have to get counselor for both. So you're getting counseling and you're getting advice. You're running by your decisions by them. And then you have to have time by yourself. In other words, you have to go by yourself. Especially if if you're homeless, you have lots of time. We know you do. I know you do. To go sit by yourself in a park somewhere and think about what your counselor said, or what your friend said, or what your mom and dad said, or whatever it is. And the same thing goes for anybody else. And then you do what? You have to know you're not alone. Carry that with you, and then follow the steps. What are the steps? Come on, guys. What are the steps? Right? Step 1. Clean your house. Step 2. Once your house is empty, fill it back with positive things. Step 3. Do something you're good at. Step 4. Do something outside your box. Step 5. And look around and you've done it. Now you're ready to live life. Trust me, but do it within your wheelhouse. Do it within your wheelhouse. Do this within your plan of attack, but do it with these parameters. These are just parameters, right? Trust me. The new year is coming, and so think about that when you come into the new year. Think about that. And on that note, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, for those of you who were able to. And I hope that everyone has a new year that's good. The whole year, not just on the day. May the Lord of Light bless you in all things. Good night. I have bipolar disorder and PTSD, and I was in that position. I was a broken man 15 years ago, and I fixed my life. And everybody talks about changing this world, and so forth and so on, and everybody talks and talks and talks, and they never do anything about it. Well, here I am. I'm going to do something about it. I'm tired of the misconceptions about mental disorder. I'm tired of the directions that some people try to give to people with real problems in life. Really examine your life. Want to without knowledge is ignorance. If you don't know what it's going to take, if you don't know why you're doing things, why you want to change your life, there is no there's no point to it. I want to create desire in you to change your life, especially if you have been abused, if you have been told all your life you're a loser. You should examine why that is. I was a loser. You understand? Like 15 years ago, I really was. You do need advice. You can't have just one set of eyes on your life. You have to have perspective, and you might not want to hear it. Do you think I wanted to hear that I was a loser? I didn't even want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. That's why I drank so much. Good Lord, I was an alcoholic because of it. I didn't want to deal with life. So check this out. Like, I didn't believe in myself. I hid myself for so long. I don't want other people feeling like that. I know what it feels like to be you. I really do. But you don't have to be.